How we doing, guys? And it's finished Fulham 0, Arsenal 1. Oh, that was a typical 1-0 to the Arsenal. And it wasn't pretty. It was very much one of those games you get straight after an international break where things feel a little disjointed. Things don't feel like they've clicked in the same way they were before the international break. But what you have to do in these games is get 3 points. When we went into this game, we were not top of the league because Man City had beaten Everton 2-0 and they went top of the league. There were some points during the afternoon where Bournemouth were top of the league, but their game against Crystal Palace was just mad. But we used the Man City game as an example, and first half, 0-0. Again, it was one of those where it's not easy. But then they've got Erling Haaland at the moment, and Erling Haaland is just scoring goals for fun. And, you know, Man City with him are very, very dangerous. What we need in 3 weeks' time or so, they reckon it'll be around the international break, is for the 115 charges to be done and for them to get relegated. And then we don't have to worry about them or Haaland this season. But now listen, in all seriousness, it was one of those games where first 20 minutes I felt we were very sluggish, come out very slow. But then we actually scored. Or, well, I thought we scored. And I'll tell you something, that would have been one of the goals of the season. Calafiori, what an unbelievable finish, but offside. And then we kind of were going through the motions. Declan Rice has a shot towards the end, like literally last kick of the half, actually. And I'm thinking, we can't come out any worse than that first half performance. We've got to be better. And we were a lot better. And within the first 10 minutes of, you know, the second half, we had more intensity. We had more creativity, and a lot was coming down our right-hand side with Bukayo Saka, and he had Sessegnon on toast. And you're thinking to yourself, is this going to be one of them games where we just can't create something? We just need a spark. Or is it going to be one of those kind of games where we need to rely on a good old set piece? And it was one of them. Set piece again, ole ole. And listen, anyone can sit there and criticise the set pieces and we score our goals from them and everything. If you're moaning about us scoring so many goals from set pieces, then why don't you work on them harder and become as good as us at set pieces? And then you won't moan. At the end of the day, set pieces are a part of the game. Now Arsenal are good at them. Everybody wants to banish them, stop them, finish. No, we can't have set pieces again. Corners, they've got to roll them in like we're in under-9s football or something like that. It's part and parcel of the game. Deal with it. Try and deal with it better than the teams we play against because none of them can deal with it. But up until that point, Bukayo Saka's corners were terrible. In the first half, they were terrible. But you only need one to be on the money. And it was on the money. And Trossard again. Listen, he's got a habit of popping up and scoring important goals, isn't he? I said in my preview to this game that I would actually have started him in this game because I felt that Fulham would play with a low block, which would mean there weren't space in behind for pace like Martinelli. I thought Eze had a really, really quiet game and he was hooked after 60 minutes. And I think this is one of those games that kind of emphasises just how important Martin Odegaard is to this team. Because he is that player that gets on the ball, demands the ball, dictates the play, and just dictates the tempo of the way we're playing. And today it just felt like we didn't have that player that was doing that. And I feel that if Eze is going to play in a kind of 10, considering we play with 2, he's better on the left of the 2 than the right, if that makes sense. So, listen, it's just one of them days. It's a bad day at the office, you know, and we move on from it. But Bukayo Saka, like I said, he didn't have the best of games, but he was causing constant problems. Victor Gyökeres, he desperately needs a goal and he's desperately unlucky. There were some really good moments during the game from Victor Gyökeres. You know, some really good turns, shots. And the ball just wasn't falling. When Bernd Leno would make a save, it would fall out and it wouldn't fall to somebody that was waiting. And it was like, and even one where Martinelli got on the end of it and Leno makes another save. and you're seeing 9 minutes injury time and you're thinking, oh, 9 minutes, really? But what I will say about those 9 minutes is that not once during those 9 minutes did I feel like we were under threat. It didn't feel like those 9 minutes dragged. It didn't feel like we were hanging on. It just felt like we could shut up shop and say good night. And I think even Fulham had that sense of, we ain't breaking them down. It's just pointless. We're not going to break them down. And that's what our defence has done right now. It's that strong. It's that solid. We've only conceded 3 goals all season. We've only conceded 1 goal from open play all season, and that was Erling Haaland's goal. Do you know how mad that statistic is? That we're nearly 10 games into the season, we've only conceded 3 goals, and only 1 of those goals has been from open play. That is mad, and it's been well documented over the last couple of weeks. The last time we actually conceded more than 2 goals in a game, the team we conceded 3 against are currently playing in League One with a former Arsenal player now as their manager. That's how long ago that was. That is an insane statistic. So yeah, listen, at the end of the day, it's another game where you will look at last season and you will say, what did we do? What was the comparison? Well, last year we drew 1-1. So we've gained another 2 points that we didn't have last season. You look at the Newcastle game. We lost that game. We won this time. That's another 3 points. West Ham at home. We lost. We won this time. So that's 8 points in our last 3 games that we've managed to win that we didn't last season. The 2 games that we haven't actually done better than last season was Liverpool away because we got a draw and Man City at home because we beat them 5-1 and this time we drew. But we've always said that our problem was never against the top sides because we had an unbelievable record until we lost that Liverpool one against the top sides. It was these kind of games where we were dropping points and we were coming unstuck. So it's nice to get it done. It's nice to get the win. We can move on and just... That's it. Just move on. And also, I nearly forgot. It's another game where we got given a penalty and VAR overturns it. Now, I've only just left the ground and I haven't seen the replay. Someone let me know, was it a penalty? Because from the still images I've seen, not the replay itself, it looks to me, I think it was Kevin that made the tackle. He did win the ball, but he went through Bukayo Saka first. He went through his knee. So how's it not a penalty? If you make contact with a player first, then the ball, that's irrelevant. The player's been fouled. But again, it's another game where we're not looking at it and we're what ifs and wondering and all the rest of it. It's done. We can move on. And another tough game, Tuesday, Atletico Madrid, Champions League. Simeone, Arteta. Oh my God. That could be that could be an eventful one, couldn't it? But listen, we've got the win. It's the most important thing. We move on. 3 points, top of the league, set piece again. You know how it goes. If you haven't already, you know what to do and all the rest of it. Let me know in the comment section and all that. Subscribe, and I will see you lot soon. I'm out of here.